Hi, welcome back to Jenny's One Voice. Today we're going to be talking about childlike innocence. I love that I get to be here with you guys, teaching you about autism and hopefully getting to help you guys out and learn a little something. I have my list here. So, childlike innocence with autism. I had a problem with this when I was younger. And maybe still do. When I was younger, I would run in front of cars. I still, to this day, am terrified and will look both ways and stop dead in my tracks if I'm about to cross the highway or a road, because I have to remember it's not automatically programmed in my brain. I have to remember, look both ways. And then I'll look, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm good. I'm not gonna get run over, I'm good. Because I do not drive, so if I need to go anywhere on my own, I have to walk, so I have to be cautious, especially with all those crazy drivers out there. Boy, especially where we live, there's some crazy drivers and semis and stuff that are scary. I've never seen semis drive like they do here. I thought they were scary in Vegas. Come here. Now, childlike innocence. It's almost like you have an autism age. I've always said I had an autism age and my real age. Like you feel one age, but you're really another. Like, I still feel like I could be 18, but I'm really 24. Like, I graduated from high school 5 years ago. I still feel like I could be 18, but I'm 24 and I'm graduating from college in a year. So, crazy, but that's the reality. And I like younger things like unicorns and dolls and that kind of stuff, but in reality, I'm 24 and can drink alcohol, and if I wanted to, I could smoke, but I don't. That kind of stuff I'm not into. Too rule-orientated. I might have a glass of white Zinfandel here and there, but not often. Your child might not perceive danger. Like that example with cars. Or even, I didn't know kidnapping existed. My mom had to explain that to me. I didn't know that danger was existent in this world. I didn't know that mean or different was existent in this world. I would say by the time I was around second grade, I noticed there was different and mean. But up until then, I thought, oh, class clowns. There's just that kind of different. There's class clowns, there's the smarty pants, there's the nerds. But I didn't really think that there was such thing as differences to that kind of depth of autism or physical or mental disabilities. But then again, I was just a kid. But by second grade, I started to see it. And I started to see it in myself because I would have to leave the classroom to tick or to clear my throat over and over again because I also have Tourette's, or I would have to go do my OCD or that kind of thing. But with autism, you also don't know when to let others speak. You can continuously talk about yourself, but you need to know when to let others talk to have a productive conversation, a conversation that flows, so to say. If you want to make friends, when you get to the point where you want to make friends, you don't want to have one-sided conversations. You got to have conversations where you both speak. And that's very important to learn. And I took acting classes, and they taught me a lot about facial expressions, and they taught me to look at the nose to be able to make fake eye contact, and that's really helped me a lot in my life, to be able to make fake eye contact. Because if you look at the nose, or a little, like right here, it looks like you're making eye contact, but you're really not. So you're not uncomfortable. And they taught me how to make facial expressions, how to express myself, how to do all these different emotional things. And it was really great for my autism because it helped me get out of my shell. And by the end of the class, I was surprising everyone. But when you get to the point where you want to make friends, you need to speak not just about yourself, but you need to be able to listen and hear the other person and be able to be interested in what they're talking about and hear what they're talking about and engage in their conversation as well. We don't always do well at waiting our turn. I struggled with this as a child. I would do the, when's it going to be my turn? Or I would say, why would the doctor say? I would get so irritated. Why would the doctor always say, just be back in a few minutes, if they were never going to be back in just a few minutes? Why, Mom? Why? We know it's going to be hours. So why do they say it? Why? Why do they say it? It drove me nuts. But I have learned to wait. I take an emergency backpack with me to my doctors now because I still hate waiting. Still hate it, but I can tolerate it. I just take entertainment with me on the go. You do what you have to do to help you. One thing that we are brutally honest, and we don't have that filter, and we kind of have to learn to have that filter. I had to learn to have that filter. I used to be so brutally honest. Like I didn't have that filter, and I had to learn that you don't want to be that honest. And we are not able to lie. I try. If I try, I just end up blurting it all out. We are not liars. We tell the truth. We might mature slower than most people. Like, I was laughing at things that most people, like, maybe like fart or even poop. Or even in the 5th grade when we took the girls' class, like to learn about, you know what. I was trying so hard to keep it together, but I just was laughing inside. I just couldn't. Like, I just couldn't. I was not at the maturity level to handle this stuff yet. But yet I was at the age where we were doing those things, but my head just couldn't handle it yet, if you know what I mean. And we don't always know how to be inclusive. We don't know how to include people. And that's not on purpose. We just don't know how to include people in conversations. We get confused. We don't know how to share. We don't know how to... We just don't know how. We don't know how to share. We don't know how to include people in our conversations. Heck, we don't know how to include people in our world. We have to be taught all of these things. We can have a lack of empathy. I had to be taught empathy. And it took me being hospitalized for me to really get that empathy. The second time I was hospitalized around the age of 16. And then I got a real empathy. And ever since, I've been an empath. Like, I've really empathized with people on a deeper level since then. But we just don't know empathy until we're taught it. You gotta teach everything with autism, pretty much. Empathy, conversations, everything. It just doesn't come natural to us. We do not know manipulation. We might know how to manipulate to get what we want, but we don't know when someone is manipulating us. Like when I was going to shopping with when I thought it was a friend, she manipulated me into buying all of her things. And I thought that was okay. And my mom got so mad. She was like, no, that is not okay. She was tricking you. And people would just hang out with me from my house or my pool because they thought it was a big house and they were more poor, or they thought it was cool to be in a big house and they just wanted to be able to say they were in a big house. They didn't care about me, they just cared about my things. And one girl came over and was mad about what she got on Easter because she wanted to spend Easter with me, but she only really wanted what she got on Easter and she wasn't happy with what she got on Easter. She was mad about what I got versus what she got. So, manipulation. We don't know when we're being cruel to others. We don't know. Like when we're having a full-blown meltdown, we don't realize it until it's over, or we have to be taught what cruelty is and that it's wrong and that we shouldn't be doing it and that you shouldn't talk to someone that way, or that that word's not okay and that you shouldn't say that to someone you love, and that you shouldn't kick, and that you shouldn't hit, and that you shouldn't do all these things. We can have a lack of manners, like at the table. Because using utensils can be hard with the fine motor skill issues. So we will just pick stuff up with our hands and not care. We'll just eat the way that's easy for us and not care about manners. And then that can lead to doing it in public, which can be embarrassing. We might not know it's embarrassing, but then as we get older and go out, we'll realize it's embarrassing. And like when I went to work, I was eating and I had stuff on my face and got laughed at. And that was the first time I really was embarrassed by my eating. So I practiced more mannerful, or whatever the word is, more manners with eating. Don't understand how other people's minds work, or that you're even supposed to. That's still foreign to me. I don't get how other people's brains work, and I will never understand how they do. I just don't understand how neurotypicals' brain work. It greatly baffles me how they work. It's just so confusing how someone else's brain works to me. Just like how a neurotypical thinks an autistic's brain is confusing. We think yours is confusing, man. I'm like, I don't get you, man. Just like you think we're confusing, I think you're confusing. It goes both ways. But we need to learn to understand you. So why shouldn't you learn to understand us? That's what I've always said. If we have to work to understand you, why shouldn't neurotypicals have to work to understand us? We put in the work. You should have to put in the work back, but that's just not how it's ever had to work. Not yet, at least. I mean, there is some exceptional people who will do it, but there's a lot of people who still won't. Well, that's all I have on Childlike Innocence. I hope these examples gave you some insight into childlike innocence and what it can be like, and I hope this taught you a little something, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to hit that thumbs up button, and be sure to subscribe to Jenny's One Voice for more videos like this, for all that Jenny's One Voice has to offer, because I'll be sure to make more videos to educate you on autism. Really do hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week. Bye!